Hello, this is, whoops. Gotta hide the bedroom. This is Tom for Tabletop Tap Room, and we are doing character creation in Middle Earth by Iron Crown Enterprises today. This is a walkthrough, and I think that character creation in Middle Earth by Iron Crown is actually a fun character creation. Each character ends up being very unique and different and does not look or have the same capabilities as other characters. And it's a unique system. It's kind of unlike D&D, where every fighter looks like every other fighter, every thief looks like every other thief, for the most part. I mean, there's a few things. Did you choose this armor or that armor? Did you choose this race or that race? And there are obviously racial choices going on in MERP, but it really gets down to one of the last steps of character creation is the background points, and that is where you really fine tune and change a character that you're creating at first level. But before we get to that, I just want to say thanks for watching the video. Thanks to my subscriber. You guys are great. And if you've not subscribed, please do hit the like, subscribe, and bell icon and help me build the channel. And I do want to get in a quick word from my sponsor, Thourgh Games. They have been running a Kickstarter. They have completely doubled their funding goal. They're well on their way to tripling it. And it is for the Clyde Caldwell edition of Mystic Days. But don't take my word for why it's a good game for you to consider the Kickstarter. Listen to what Professor Dungeon Master has to say in this commercial spot that he did for them.
To you by Gloomer Games Mystic Days, the Caldwell Edition. The Kickstarter includes 4 hardbound books: Monsters and Mayhem, Magic and Treasure, Player's Book, and Adventure Guide. OSR style, 6 classic stats, no character classes, you build the character you want, no initiative to slow things down, no OP characters, and death is always on the table. You roll to cast, failure could lead to an explosive catastrophe, and every weapon is unique. Polearms get the place they deserve, with every weapon having a reach modifier, and monsters are bestial and not humanized. With fantastic cover art by Clyde Caldwell, this is old school gaming the way you remember. Links below.
Yes, I will be editing the show notes. They don't currently have the link, but I will be editing the show notes, and it will have the link to the Kickstarter. I forgot that. I left that out. But we are doing today Middle Earth role-playing by Iron Crown Enterprises. This is the first edition of the rules. This was not my rule book, but this was the rule book I had. I have a nice new pristine copy of the game because I lost my original years ago. eBay comes along and it's the world's biggest garage sale. And of course I invested in second edition, but I've discovered I do not like second edition. And the reason why is second edition of the MERP rules it does not facilitate character creation. It presents pre-gens for you to use in Middle Earth. And who wants to use pre-gens? I want to create my own character. And actually, character creation in first edition was a lot of fun. And we're going to have a lot of fun today. Well, I'm going to have a lot of fun creating a character, and we're going to do it as a step-by-step. I've actually already created it and scanned the character sheet at each stage in the process. So we're not going to create it here in this per se. But you want first edition, the first edition rules. I will be using a PDF. The PDF is something that I think somebody took artwork from second edition and mixed it and did their own layout with the first edition rule. And so the pages are all over the place. I will try to keep you well informed by calling out page numbers for the actual hardbound rules. But the beginning of the player character process is generally, I think you should have a concept of where you want to go with the character. And at every stage in this character creation process, what happens is that every decision you make actually impacts the character. So I already knew I wanted to play a hobbit. I already knew I wanted him to be an archer. So I've come to this with these decisions in place. And now these kind of lock in some information on the character sheet. Now the character sheet's towards the back of the book. You need to print some off, or I don't know if there's a fillable PDF out there. That would actually be handy. But you do need to have a paper copy and a pencil with an eraser, because even as you go up in level, you're going to be changing a lot of this information on there. You'll be changing numbers for your character. So I have named him Samuel Fletcher, and we can zoom this in. Samuel Fletcher. Why Samuel? Well, because Samwise was already taken. So I went with Samuel and Fletcher because, you know, he's in archery. And so we can presume maybe his father was a Fletcher, taught the trade to him. That locks him in for 3 feet 6 inches tall. I've named him a fallow hide. His weight is 65 pounds, and his hair is brown, and his eyes are brown, and his demeanor is brooding. Now, I chose brooding. That's not a normal demeanor for a hobbit. And that is part of his reason for adventuring. That he's lost his wife, he's lost his child, and he does not want to go back to his old life. He's committed to change. He needs a change, and so he's gone into adventuring, and so that is why he is brooding. Now, just so you know, weight is important. And it's not in here for hobbits in this edition of the rules. I believe it's actually in the second edition of the rules. So I penciled it in over here. You do need to know the weight for your character. For the fallow hides, it's 65 for a male, 62 for a female. For the Harfoots, it's 54 for a male, 51 for a female. For the Stoors, it's 66 for a male and 62 for a female. Now, I misread that, and I went, oh, I'm going to go with fallow hide. They weigh the most. And it's important because it actually impacts encumbrance. How much you weigh versus how much you're carrying. You know, if you're over 15 pounds of carried weight, then you have an encumbrance penalty. And so there's a whole table for that. And being a hobbit and having a low weight means encumbrance penalties start nailing you pretty quick. So you can't carry a lot. And, you know, but the weight's important. And without it, so I penciled it into my nice, neat, clean, pristine copy of the rules. But I believe I located that in the second edition. So I just read those numbers so that you have them. And the other thing that happens here with the player character, besides this information, is there is you have racial bonuses to your ability scores. So I've written down Westron here. That's the common tongue, rank 5. Hobbits get that. And at the top here, I put 5 BP because we're going to see that hobbits get 5 background points. We're going to spend those later. That's where the fun really comes in. Now, these bonuses are actually, where are we? Page. We want page 27 in the. So here we are with the special racial modifications table. So you can see it, you cross-reference here for Hobbit. It's got all of, and we add these right to the character sheet, as well as these resistance rolls. These are your saving throws. So you'll add these. He's got a plus 50 against essence casting and plus 20 against channeling casting. POS is not what you think it is. It's poison. So he's got a plus 30 against poison. And Dis, again, is not what you think. It's his resistance roll against disease. all these numbers we are going to add straight up to the character sheet. But before we, so I've added them there, and down here under one of the spec columns on the character sheet, you've got special. In either one of these, you can put these numbers in. And then you see I've already done some marks here. These are adolescent skill ranks. Let's go back to the PDF. And adolescent skill ranks are on page 29. This is 29 in the PDF. It's actually page 30 in the hardcover, in the actual printed rule book. So again, at this table, it reproduces all of the skills here, and it cross-references them in a matrix for all of the different races. Here you have hobbits. So we're going to just transfer all of these these are all things he learned as an adolescent before he came to adulthood and enter the adventuring life. So he has, for movement and maneuver, in no armor, he's got 1 skill rank. He's got 2 skill ranks in thrown and missile. In general skills, 2 for climb. In subterfuge, he's got 5 ranks for stalk and hide, 1 for pickpockets, 1 for disarm traps, 2 for body development. That's like your hit points. And then perception is 4 skill ranks, and 3 additional language ranks and 5 background points. Now on the character sheet, you just plug in all those ranks, and up here, I have put in Westron 5, and then I've written in 3 here. I've written in 3 here under language, under this part here for language. And I will choose these in a minute, but I also happen to know I'm going to get another rank for language, so this will become a 4. But I've put my 5 background points in here. Now, what is the next step? So this is all to do with the choice of his race. Next is really about choice of profession. There's no classes in this skill system. It's your profession. And halflings, the hobbits are actually limited. They cannot take any of the character professions that have spell casting, that start out with ranks of development of the spell casting skills or spells. So that means he's limited to scout or warrior. And just looking at some of these other ranks down here, I mean, subterfuge, he's already got 5. He's going to go scout. I could make him a tank. I could be blowing these 5 background points to really develop him into a tank, make him a warrior, and I could be doing that. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go scout. I want to go archer who sneaks, hides. I've got ideas. So when you go into the rule book, and I should specify, I've put in level 1 here. You'll notice over here under experience points, it's 10,000 experience points. Now you would think that just seems dumb. He's level 1 and he's starting with 10,000 experience points. As long time MERP fan, second E rulebook does have character creation. I just didn't like the second edition rulebook. And I didn't like the layout of second edition. I just kind of kept going back to the first edition rulebook. So anyhow, 10,000 experience points. You think, man, that is really stupid that you start a character with 10,000 experience points. It just seems dumb. But here's how it works. How do you know you're at second level? When you are 10,000 times your level. So if you're second level, it's 20,000. Third level, 30,000. So you just plug it in and go with it. That's just an idiosyncrasy of the system. But let's go to the rule book, and we want to go to professions, page 16, I do believe, in the PDF, but it'll be page 22 in the first edition rule book. So here under professions, we've now made the choice of scout. We're going to plug in all this information. Agility is our prime stat, and we have these professional bonuses for +1 for all per level for weapon skills, +1 per level for general skills, +2 per level for subterfuge skills, +3 per level for perception. If he happens to learn a spell list, he can cast up to level 5. It's a restriction on this character profession. So that is important. We're going to add all that information, and we're going to go to page 33 in the PDF, and it's actually 34 in the rule book. And so here we have our development points. And under Scout, we're gonna write in next to on the character sheet. We're gonna write in 1 for movement maneuver, 3 ranks for weapon skills, 3 ranks for general, 5 for subterfuge skills, 2 for, we won't even put it in on the side. We're gonna just mark off 2 boxes on body development. Add 1 more rank for languages to the 3 we already have. And that's it. So let's go back to the character sheet. This is all the information we're plugging in. I've put an asterisk next to agility. Agility is the prime skill. The rules specify when you roll your ability scores, you arrange them as you want. You should put your lowest score on agility because on your prime requisite, because your prime requisite automatically switches out to a 90. So I've already put 90 in here, and I've already looked up the bonus. It's a +10, which gives me a 25. And I've also plugged in all down for agility. I haven't even rolled any ability scores yet. But I've gone up here. I've put 4 ranks for languages. And then I've plugged in my development points, and I'm going to be choosing these up. But at this point, this is where you probably want to roll up the your ability scores. And here's the reason why. If you look, I've got a steep negative for my racial bonus on strength. It's a -20. And I come down here, I've got to choose some of these. I've already got ranks in the agility ones, but all these other weapon skills test off of strength. And I might want to put some of these ranks into whatever weapon skill I'm going to be using for this character to try to offset that -20 up here. And I might actually want to make sure I get a high strength to try to offset that. So let's go to the next scan of the character sheet and see what I rolled up. So you just roll D100. I actually did it with a number generator, on Google. And so I got a 92, and I put that in for strength because it gave me a +10, and it dumps down that negative to 10. There's a possibility I may be playing solo. So I went with 84 in Constitution, thinking about my, the equivalent of hit points in the system for a high Constitution bonus. Intelligence, intuition, and presence. They were all, middle ground stats, 73, 42, 65. They gave me +0s. And we have a dump stat of 13. And I also rolled a 9. The 9 got put on agility, which is automatically changed to 90. So these are my end result. And I've just plugged these in all down the character sheet. And this is the point where I'm going to start buying doing some development of the character. So with these 4 ranks in languages that I have to spend, I picked an Elvish language, Sylvan. I just picked one. There's like 3 of them. I just grabbed one at level 2. Level 2 is just kind of, where's the bathroom? I want a hamburger. Yo soy hamburguesa. So, and then I had 2 more. I threw 2 more in Orcish because he's a scout. I want him to be able to sneak, hide, listen in on some orcs talking, get the basic concepts, get the basic gist at level 2. As he goes up in level, I'll probably throw that one rank that comes every level in to bump these up to at least a 3, and then develop other languages. Down here, I had one rank in movement and maneuver. I threw it on soft leather because I'm already planning with those background development points. So you should have re-rolled a 9. You re-roll any stats under 20. Yeah, the rule book might say that. I'm rereading this for like the first time since the 80s, so I might have made the mistake. But the 9, maybe I'll re-roll that 13 because he's an ugly spud. But it doesn't affect much. It does. I think it affects my leadership and influence. So, and then roll app separately, modify the results. Okay. So, yeah, I probably did make a mistake. You very well may know the rules better than me. And, but actually, I do think I kind of remember re-roll anything under 20. But I did allow, because I was rolling pretty hot, 92, 84, 73 felt hot, but it's only a +0. But I was rolling pretty hot on this character. So I've plugged in the one rank I get in movement, one development point I plugged it into soft leather because I have a plan to blow one of the background development points on a special item, and it's going to be soft leather armor. I want some armor. I'm not going with rigid because it carries a higher movement penalty. I had 3 ranks for weapon skills. I'm putting 2 in here under one hand edge just to offset this -10 for strength. In the end, it's going to give me a +1 offensive bonus, which ain't much, but at least it's not a negative. And I threw the last rank on missile. I had 3 for general, and I just went and put them all down. It probably wasn't that big of a deal. I probably should have actually maybe thrown all 3 into track because he's a scout, but I spread them out this way. I'll live with it. The 5-4 subterfuge skills. I threw an extra one on disarm traps. I just felt, but maybe I should have gone with pick locks. I don't know, but that's what I did. I threw 1 there, and then I put 4 more on stalk and hide. This is going to give me 45 over here just for the ranks. And then 2 more on body development. So that was how I built this character. And where are we at here with comments? You can't put 3 in any skill during character creation. Oh, 2 is a max. Oh, so we actually got to move one of these stock and hides over to we got to move 2 of them over and put I guess I'm going to have to put 2 on lockpick and 1 more on disarm trap. So we'll have to modify this character. And but you can actually blow a background point to build a skill. I wonder, does this also apply to using the background points? But because I actually threw 2 more through a background point onto missile to bump that up and to make him pretty slick hot with his archery. So that was how I built this character. And then we moved on to the background points and totaling everything up. So it does look like I made a mistake. So yeah, 2 ranks cost 3 points. Yeah, I probably should have reread the rules a little bit closer. No, background points are additional. All right, so I can build, and that's what I did was I threw, I blew a background point for one of the primary skills, and I blew a background point on a secondary skill. Now, obviously, with a name like Fletcher, I was already planning to go with fletching as a secondary skill. You blow a background point, you get 5 ranks in it. And while I was there, I wrote down agility, and the bonus is 25. So it's a big plus 50. You know, this guy, he's supposed to be an archer. He needs those, you know, he does not need to run out of arrows. So, what is this comment here? But still, too many points in most skills. So, so the adolescent skills count, and so I've got to move. I put 1 on, so I'm good on missiles here because I put 1 rank, and I put 2 on one hand edge, and we started with the skills. I then blew a background point for missile and a background point for fletching. Now, the other things that you can do with the background points, and where is my, we need to be on page 23 in the book. Oh, here we are. Background options tables. So you can be buying skill ranks. You can be stat increases. I do not like the stat increases myself. The special abilities are cool. You know, you can get a +5 bonus to a primary skill, +15 to a secondary skill. You could get infravision, resistance. You can get a +10 to one of your resistance rolls. I guess you get to pick that. You know, you've got to roll this table, but if you get this, you get to pick which one it's going to go on. Proficient with spells, that'll give you an extra spell list. Adept at maneuvering, moving maneuvers. This would be a good one to have. +10 bonus to all moving maneuvers. That would actually be a really good one to have. Lightning reactions would be a good one. There's a money option. I mean, if you rolled 0-0, that's 200 extra gold. And that's important because every starting character starts with 2. I don't want to do that for our British friends. Starts with 2 gold pieces. It kind of sucks if you roll an 0-1 or an 0-2 and only get 1 more gold piece. But truth be told, I outfitted this guy for less than a gold piece. But there was some strategic choosing of things in that. But we'll get to that. Where I blew 3 background points was on special items. Now you can combine 2 of these rolls into 1 item. And yeah, 2. Yeah, ye old geek. 2 is plenty. 2 actually was fairly plenty. And honestly, I wanted to have great bread, but it was 3 gold pieces. I wanted to have great bread because it's only 4 pounds. And I have an encumbrance issue with this character. You know, so extra gold would have been good to get better provisions that didn't weigh so much. In the end, I ended up with rations that weighed 14 pounds. That is a huge chunk of my encumbrance. So I was not too happy about that. So I'm definitely looking for the gold at some point so I can buy great bread, or even whey bread. Whey bread's better. Whey bread lasts a month. Great bread lasts a week. They're both 4 pounds. So I rolled on this table, and I got, it was like a 23 and then a 74. And so I'm mixing both of these items into soft leather armor. One, that saves me from having to buy it because I'm getting it as a free special item. So I got the +10 soft leather armor, and I get to choose a daily spell. I went to, let's go back to the character sheet, and where are we? Here's the back of the character sheet. So +10 soft leather armor, can cast Bard spell. I chose the Bard spell Shade, which means 3 times a day. It has an area of effect of 100 feet radius. It's a touch. You touch a spot. It's 100 feet from that spot. It deepens shadows, and it's plus 25 to hiding. My reading of that is not just for my character, but for anybody trying to hide there. So this becomes a benefit for the whole party. The first level spell, which would have been 4 times a day, the first level version of this spell on this spell list was like a better bonus for hiding, but it was only limited to my character. So it was kind of a toss-up which one I went with. I wrote down Shade. I kind of liked it because the rest of the party could benefit from hiding. And then I blew one more background development point and rolled and got a plus 10 short bow, which I didn't have to, which I would have actually gotten for free because you get 2 normal weapons for free. Now, the problem here was with the weight. The dagger is 1 pound. I didn't even go for a short sword. I chose a dagger because I know I have encumbrance issues. So the dagger I got for free, boots, cloaks, weapon belt, and clothes are all free. I gave him, in place of a second weapon, I gave him a quiver with 20 arrows for free. But I did write down the weight at 1 pound, half pound for the quiver and 3 pounds for the arrows. I put the note in there for 40% breakage when arrows are used. The backpack was 2 bronze pieces. It weighs 2 pounds. It carries 20 pounds and 1 cubic foot. The flint and steel, 1 bronze piece. 3. Why do we need to know it's 3 minutes to start a fire with flint and steel? I don't know why that's important, but I think it was actually faster than the fire bow. So I went with that. 1 silver piece for the lock picks, 2 copper for a water skin. It is 0 pounds empty and 1 pound full, and it holds 1 pint. I don't know if that really adds up. I thought a gallon was like 7 point something pounds, but I went with what the book said. And then 1 bronze piece for trail rations. It's what I could afford, but they are 14 pounds. It's a week's of food, and total, all told, my weight carried. Now, all clothing is worn, armor is worn, doesn't count towards encumbrance. But my total weight, minus the bow, I forgot to add in the bow, was 21.5 pounds. I'm assuming the bow is a couple of pounds, so it doesn't put me over that 25 pounds. And down here at the bottom of the page, I went ahead and like wrote in a little bit of this encumbrance table for my weight, and 16 to 25 pounds. The encumbrance penalty is 20. I wrote in a few other relevant weights, the encumbrance penalties. Just as the character goes adventuring, I don't want to have to look it up in the book. So it's it's a good point. Here we go. The UK pint is bigger than US pint, so we get more beer. I turned 18. When I turned 18, I was in England, and so I went to the village pub in Hingham, in East Anglia, there outside of Bury St. Edmunds. And yes, the pints are a little bit bigger. And so you do get more beer in a pint, for sure. And Ye Old Geek. So there's where forging becomes a great secondary skill. Yes. I just chose not to take it. It was something on my radar. I went with fletching. And Wizard Tower, welcome. Sorry I'm late. Just seeing this. Here's what happened, actually. I was recording this through StreamYard. I recorded it twice. The video recording went an hour, but StreamYard was having trouble with lag, and I was freezing, and so I decided to just do it as a live stream. I don't think I get the lag and the freezing up with StreamYard when I do a live stream. So this is the 3rd time I've redone this video, and I'm just redoing it as a live stream. So there was not going to be a notice. Drop me a text next time you're on there. Okay, can do. So I've handwritten in my encumbrance here, And then I calculated what I spent. And in the end, out of that 2 gold pieces, I still have a gold piece left. I have 8 silver, I have 5 bronze, 2 copper. This book is a pain in the neck to find where the breakdown is on the money. And every time I got to look for it, I'm like pulling my hair out. It's page 49 in the first edition rules. And basically, it's actually not hard to remember. It's 10 tin pieces equal a copper, 10 copper equal a bronze, 10 bronze equal a silver, 10 silver equal a gold. And then here's where it gets interesting. 100 gold equal 1 mithril. And that's on page 49 of the first edition rules. So this is the character. And going back to the front of the page, I did not pencil this information in. But because I'm carrying so much weight, I would put that penalty in here for 20. My strength bonus penalty is 10. So I'm going to have an encumbrance penalty of 30. I'm not too excited about it, but I don't know that that is going to be the end of the world for this character. But clearly, at some point, he's going to want to get a pony to carry everything for him. Although, well, maybe the party can get a pony and he can put some stuff on there so he's not carrying all that weight. Because if he's doing the stalk and hide, ponies aren't necessarily quiet. So this is just the character. Now, here's what I love. So I did a vid on MERP character creation a while back. Tried to use OBS and it lagged all over. Ended up having to record it with screenshots rather than live updating. And soft leather is awful armor. It's objectively worse than being unarmored in a lot of cases. Oh, interesting. I was thinking that he wanted some armor, but I just didn't want this movement, this heavy penalty of minus 30 for rigid armor. And we certainly were not looking to incur the 45 on chain or even, whoever heard of a scout doing the stalk and hide and plate mail. So that's why I went with the soft leather. It is plus 10. So we're plugging that plus 10 in for the item bonus here on moving maneuvers, and we're plugging it into the defensive bonus on this character. And, that's this character. Now, I'm actually thinking about going back and making a halfling that is a spellcaster. Building off of either a fighter. I'll probably do it with a fighter instead of a scout. And I'll blow a lot of those background points on getting magical skills and at least one spell list for the character. So that you have a fighter who can do maybe his own healing or something along those lines that would seem appropriate. I'll have to take a look at the spell list first and maybe try to identify the spell I want to go with, the spell list that I want to go with first. Something from the open essence or open, most likely channeling. Probably, if he's going to be a fighter, so quasi tank, not that halflings make really good tanks, but yeah. I'm thinking about doing that. And so in that case, I probably would blow a background point on more gold to be able to afford more and maybe even get that pony to carry all the weight. And I think Warriors got a prime stat of, the prime stat would be strength. So that's going to be a 90. So that's an automatic plus 10. So he still has a minus 10 on his strength. Still not cool that way, but certainly that, I think maybe I'll re-explore this with the halfling, with the hobbits again, and try to have one that's going to be able to cast a spell. It's unusual in a Hobbit because they're restricted from those spell casting classes, just not open to them. But I think I'll do that as an exercise, not on video this time, obviously. But that is my walkthrough, and even now, I made some mistakes, and thankfully, Ye Old Geek showed up and kind of was there to set me straight. So here we are. So so we've already got these comments in. So I want to thank Ye Old Geek and Wizard Tower Games for coming by. This was my MERP video for first edition Middle-earth role-playing. I definitely like this rule book. It's a lot thinner. It really feels like, it really feels like the classic basic rule book. It's a little thicker than the basic rule book, but it really very much was like the basic rule book in BX D&D. Was good from what I've seen. Yeah, I made a few mistakes in the beginning. The Old Geek kind of was like, you were wrong there. It's all right. But that's the basic process. You make a decision concerning race, and it has this impact on the character. Now we got to decide about profession. It has these impacts, but it's when you get to that, spending those background points. So 5 for a lot of characters. Elves are so cool, have so much. Some of the elves are like 3 background points, and I think maybe the Noldor elves are 2. It might be how it is. So Winnie Rule Book is great, but it didn't explain mechanics very well. The best was 1986 reissue. It's sort of 1.5e. That must be the PDF that I'm using. The PDF did not match this, but it's clearly not second edition, but it had better artwork. So that might be what I'm actually using and you're right, it wasn't bad, although it did put the racial descriptions all the way at the back of the book, like page 99 for the hobbits. So at 2E, hardback was too clunky, explained things much better, but the layout was abysmal. Yeah, I hated 2E. I bought it and was like, oh, 2E, I was so excited. And I'm like, no, forget it. Just no, not using it. And went right back to the first edition of the rules. So I love this system because I could create 10 scouts and, different races. Sure, I'm going to put in different wrinkles, but I could create 10 scouts. I could create 10 human scouts, and each one's going to be different because I'm going to spend those background points different from each character. And that's where you really get to fine-tune the character at character creation. And you can actually start with a special item. You might start with, you might have something that would normally be heavy to carry, but its special thing is that it's weightless, that it doesn't weigh anything. It weighs less than a pound. It weighs less than a half a pound, since the system does put in those half-pound weights on some of the equipment. And, so that allows for this uniqueness to the system, or I might find the heaviest race of man with the weigh the heaviest, since the encumbrance table is key to your weight. So, all right, I'm going to go with this race of man because they can carry the most. And then I'm going to have the most gear. I'll have the, I'll do a ranger, I'll do a warrior, and he's going to carry a lot of weapons and gear. But every single time you create a character, they are going to be different. They're going to roll different. You don't know what you're going to get for special abilities if you roll on that table. You really don't know what you're really going to get rolling on the special item table. It's just, you just don't know. You don't know what you're going to get if you blow a background point for gold. You could get 1 gold piece, you could get 200. Chances are it's someplace in the middle. So I like this system. I think it's actually fun for creating with this. I've also, when I discovered back in the early 2000s, when I discovered HARP, which is same basic system, same basic system inspired by this, better layout, slightly better explanation of the rules. Again, fun character creation. You're doing your culture. They don't call it adolescent skill ranks, but it's by culture. So you could have a urban culture, rural culture, woodland culture. You plug in those skill ranks by your culture. Now you're plugging things in because of this. And so as you make those choices, it changes the character and it modifies the character. And so your character creation, to me, the fun is when you're in MERP, it's when you're spending the background points. That's where it really gets interesting. And every character is going to end up being different. So this is, I run a fortnightly MERP game over on Discord and Roll20. The automated calculations in the Roll20 sheets are a godsend. So does that mean that there is a Roll20 character sheet for MERP that would calculate things for you on the fly? Because there is some math going on here with the system. I played HARP and I didn't think the math was that much of a problem with HARP, but I had read and reread and reread the rules, and I was really enamored with the HARP rules. So I'm curious about these. I haven't not played on Roll20 in a long time. Yes. All right. So they have a Roll20 character sheet because I was looking for a fillable PDF. PC sheet could be made that does the math. Yeah, absolutely. So if the PC sheet does the math for you, that's fantastic. Anytime, anything that supports you and does the math. Not all of us. I have a friend who was a NASA consultant on a space telescope, and so this guy's brilliant with math. I can handle doing 10% or 20% tips. I can do that math in my head. I can look at a bill and, all right, this is what I got to leave for a tip. But math beyond that starts getting complicated for me, and I got to write it down. I got to do it on paper. But I have a friend, he does weird math in his head. And so sometimes I'd be like, what's this? I go to him. Can you help me with the math? It helps having an astronomer for a friend. So, Ye Olde Geek, very helpful when PCs get injured during combat or affected by incidental modifiers. Yes, because, why don't we just flip to the other thing that I think is really fun about this system is the crit table. And where are you? She's hiding back here somewhere. So a heat critical. So the heat critical table, you've got the lowest result on the heat critical table is hot air plus 0 hits. But the highest hit is 120 on this table, is all that remains are charred bits of teeth and bone and everything in between. So, something in between here would be like strike to the head, blinded for 6 rounds, any organic head covering destroyed. If no helm, head hair is destroyed. So interesting results on this crit table. You just don't know what you're going to get, when this happens. Let's pick another one here. So this is electricity critical table, and I'm reading number 101 to 106. Strike to face, loses nose, stunned 8 rounds, blinded for 2 weeks, if no helm, knocked down as well. I mean, it's you don't know, and if it was like, say, a slashing wound, you could have bleeding, bleeding, 2 points of bleeding per round. It could be these types of things. I think there's a concussion hit. Where are you? But there's impact critical. Here we go. Impact critical. So disrupt chest, lungs and heart explode from impact, dies instantly, very messy. I mean, these are unusual. These probably are happening by higher level characters with a very high bonus to their roll. Something probably more in line with a lower level game would be like 81 to 86. Blow to upper leg, muscle torn, plus 15 hits, minus 10 to activity if no leg armor, minus 20 to activity, and stun 3 rounds if there was no leg armor. So, yeah, you want to have those greaves on the leg. Puncture crit clears out earwax. Yeah, but Tom, question. What does it become too technical or complicated? I think Rollmaster might tip the scale on too complicated and too technical. That was my impression, because obviously, back in the day in the 80s, I bought and loved Middle-earth materials and only had that abortive game that I played the one time. And then in the 2000s, eBay started buying. I started trying to compile a complete collection of everything. I have duplicates. I have duplicates in shrink wrap. Thieves of Thourgh. I think I have a duplicate in shrink wrap. I'll probably put it up. What's the point of me keeping it? I think it's going to reach a point where it actually starts going down in price. It's got to be at the height of its popularity because of the Hobbit movies. But so some of my things are shrink wrapped. I came this close to winning an auction for Lake Town shrink wrapped, this close to winning an auction for Shrine. So, when I started buying all this stuff, I bought a copy of Rollmaster and I looked at it and I thought, it just felt more complicated. It just felt more complicated. And I was like, no, MERP first edition. I'll go with MERP first edition. Feels much easier. To me, using the analogy of D&D, MERP first edition kind of feels like BX. Whereas second edition MERP is maybe more like 3.5. Rollmaster really, you could probably equate it to AD&D if you wanted to extend that analogy. And now you've got Harp. Harp might, and I could be wrong, but Harp might be more like a 5e, or some people really like Pathfinder. So, maybe Harp is like Pathfinder or 5e D&D. But so yeah, I'm scared to use some of my MERP stuff. Such is the value. I have a mint copy of Kinstrife. Ooh, do you now? I have a copy. It's not mint. It's not shrink wrapped. Near mint, the 400-page version of Arnor. Yeah, baby, you got a good one there. So here's what I do. I don't consider this piracy. Get your butt on Scribd. Get it. Now, Scribd has changed over the years. You used to be able to, you upload a document, and what I would do is I would upload one of the fan magazines from Star Frontiers. I'd upload one, and then that would give me permission to download as many as I wanted that 24 hours. So I would just go. So I would make a day of it. All right, I've uploaded one document. Now I'm downloading as much as I can find. So the Middle Earth stuff gets taken off of Scribd fairly often, and people just upload it. Nowadays, I think if you upload it, Scribd recognizes that, oh yeah, that's not supposed to be here. But you need to go and download all the PDFs you can find, because these are out of print. And as far as I'm concerned, if I own the book, and I have quite the extensive collection, if I own the book, I don't see why I can't have the PDF. But I can't go get the PDF from the company. The company doesn't want to hear about Middle Earth role playing anymore. I know. I tried to talk to them about it before I realized that they had lost the license when Peter Jackson was coming out with the Lord of the Rings trilogy. So yeah, I think you need to find on file share sites, find all the old MERP materials, especially if you have them, because you don't want to be handling your mint stuff. That you've collected these things. I know I did, because I was thinking they're going to be more valuable someday. And so that is in part why I've collected them. Mechanics wise, 2E and MERP are near identical. Okay. And it's impossible to consider it piracy when it comes out of print 25 years and unavailable officially. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I might have checked out Strixhaven through Scribd before buying it. And I'm so glad I did, because, I was like, after I looked at it, I was like, this is crap. I don't even want to keep it in my hard drive. Delete it. I hated Strixhaven. But for the most part, I do the right thing. But if I own the product, I don't think it's a problem for me to get the PDF. And for the most part, when you're downloading, when you're buying on drive-through and you're buying a print on demand, most publishers on drive-through actually will throw in the PDF. If you step up and buy the print on demand, they will throw in the PDF for no extra cost, or maybe a nominal cost. I don't mind that. I more and more, I used to be, no, I want to have the hard copy. I want to be able to open the book and hold it in my hands and read it. But more and more, my hypocrisy knows no bounds, and I'm just like, yeah, PDFs. But because especially if you've got a shrink-wrapped MERP module that's worth, $90 before we even start talking about where we're going to end up with price. I mean, 90 in my head is what I paid way back in the day for that copy of the Shire or Lake Town. So I know I probably want to get more than 90 on that particular document. And I've been looking at some of the prices going, oh yeah, there's some, there's some stuff going up. Try before you buy. Yeah. There we go. Try before you buy. I have actually, the pay what you want price on drive-through. I paid $0, downloaded it, looked at it, says that's good. That dog deserves a bone. Gone back on there and bought it, and bought it at the suggested price that the publisher put on it of $2-3, whatever they put, and said, yep, that was good. That was well written. That was thorough. There's the value there. I'm going to go back and put $3, or whatever the suggested value they had, and throw the dog a bone. But because not everything's created equal on drive-through. There's a lot of things where you're downloading it and you're looking at it like, yeah, you just put this together to put it together to throw it up on there to say you had something on there. And it's not worth $3 to me. At the most, maybe $1. But even then, I'm glad I checked it out. It's not worth it. But you definitely, I do use the pay what you want. I'll put in I have no shame. I'll put in the $0. But after I've looked it over and I'm like, oh, impressed, then we go back and I will throw the dog a bone and I will rebuy it and put a price on there. And I've done that about a half dozen times now, where it's like, whoa, this thing was impressive. So it's like one time I actually asked somebody, I says, hey, I just saw you had a Frontier Space module. Would you mind, sharing it with me? Because I had already spent all of my credits that I had in drive-through. I'd already spent all my credits on other stuff. I says, hey, I'll do a review if you don't mind, sharing it. He never got back to me. So in the end, more credits turned up, and I bought the PDF and I did the review of his module. And it's not that I'm trying to get over and get free stuff. It's just that, if the credits are there, I buy it. If we've had a good payday and, Tammy's cashed one of her director's checks, and then I don't mind transferring $25 from our, I'm getting a little lag. I don't mind transferring $25 from our account over to one. So gotta go. 6 p.m. here. All right. You old geek, you must be in Great Britain. If I'm not mistaken, if 6 p.m. there, right? Because you are about 5 hours ahead of us. So that would put you in Great Britain somewhere. I used to live in East Anglia in a little town called Hingham, outside of Bury St. Edmunds, near RAF Mildenhall, RAF Lakenheath. It was a bus ride to the bases. So thanks for coming by the show, and see you. And I think now is probably the time to, they're 5 hours ahead. Yeah, it's 5 hour. Yeah, and you have that 5 hour jet lag. So you just try to power through it when you fly to England, and, just stay up and just deal with it. And then, get some sleep and get going the next day. But yeah, 5 hour difference. And, but yeah, miss England. I need to take the good wife back there for a visit. She would love that. Tower of London, Warwick Castle, such, as a kid, I geeked out on all the arms and weapons and armor. I'd love to go back and relook at that stuff again. But so this was Middle Earth role playing. Yeah. Like Ye Old Geek said, the pristine mint MERP materials, if they're shrink wrapped, leave them be. Find yourself a download, find yourself a file share, download PDF of that stuff. It's out of print 25, 30 years, 40 years since it first came out. And you just can't get it anymore. Token Enterprises, they had a very generous license with Iron Crown, and Iron Crown was just chugging along until suddenly somebody was going to make a movie, and Token Enterprises said, "Oh, we can make more money," and so they almost bankrupt. Rumor has it, internet rumor has it, they almost bankrupt Iron Crown Enterprises. Luckily, Iron Crown survived, but no more MERP product from them. And I've just not been fascinated enough with the newer MERP RPGs that have come out. My heart is here. I have this huge collection. So this is Tom signing out for Tabletop Tap Room. And thanks for watching. Thanks for coming by, the people who came by and chit-chatted. And I will say, give Middle Earth a try. Wizard Tower, if you sit in on that Fortnite MERP game, let me know how it goes. I will possibly be sitting in on a StreamYard MERP game sometime in the future. So that is why you always, as a game publisher, have the clause that in the event the license is canceled, you can liquidate and sell existing stock. Yeah, that is an important clause. So with that, we are going to do the rollout.